were giving back at Christmas time, playing all those Christmas absolute classics. Johnny boy, we're back, man. We're back.
Where we go?
I'm currently working, and I'm currently sat in a hotel room. So
Nice.
that's where I'm at this evening. But yeah, man, how are you, man? It's good to see you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and you. It feels like a whole week.
Well, it has been a whole week. That's how the Groove Junction works. We do 1 week to the next.
No.
So but yeah, we haven't actually.
Good.
We haven't actually seen ourselves in person. It's just been on the online bit for a little while. But yeah, man, all good. How you been? You've been busy?
Yeah. I had a quiet weekend. Really, it was quite nice. I did my first school Christmas disco.
Nice.
Which was 2 back to back, which was nice. They all had Santa hats and prizes and loads of confetti and all that. Good fun. And then Saturday I did my annual charity event for cardiac risk in the young. To raise money.
Giving back. Giving back.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't charge for that one either. That is a freebie.
Good man.
Love that. Really nice venue, and they're just shy of £100,000, just by about.
Oh, wow.
They're about £1,800 short, but they'll get there.
Oh, incredible. Oh, good stuff, man.
Yeah, really good. What about yourself? I know I've seen online that you've been a little bit busy.
Yeah, I've had I had a party last week, and then went down to Llandaff Cathedral down in Cardiff. Did a silent disco down there with DJ Just James, who we've had on the show before, and also DJ Sophie Lou, which we've also had on the show. A really good weekend. It's very wet down in Cardiff, but
I was just about to say, every time I've been to Wales, every single time I've been to Wales, it has always rained.
Yeah,
always.
Well, it was not too bad in May when we were there last. No, we weren't there in March. Were we in May? Okay. Listen, those silent discos, I'm going around the country, it just rolls into one. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, we've been here before. So I can't remember it was quite dry when we were there last. I want to say it was towards the end of May. Listen, these things just fly by for me. But
I think this whole year has flown by, mate. I think this whole year has flown by. I mean, we are halfway through. Oh, we're nearly in December.
Well, I mean, we're just literally touching it. It's quite bizarre. Like it's quite bizarre how this year has gone, considering this is the first year that we met. At the beginning of this year, back in January, end of January. Was it end of January?
Yeah, it's towards the end of January, wasn't it? It was
end
towards
of January we met for the first time and hit it off. House on fire, Miley, and here we are. We're deep in podcast territory, and
I mean, a lot of people do think that you and I have been friends for a long time with the way we, the way we are with each other, and
the way I take the mickey out. Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah, but that's kind of. I think that's kind of. I'm just used to it now. Do you know what I mean? I'm just used to it. I don't mind it, mate. I mean, if it makes you feel better about yourself, then you crack on, mate. Sharing is caring and all that.
Thanks for the green light. Appreciate that. Just want to say thanks once again just to everybody who has been watching the podcast, viewing it, downloading it, subscribing to it. It's great to see positive comments. It's great to hear back from people directly who have said, it's great, who've listened to it, going to and coming back from gigs. And even last week's podcast, which I thought was an absolute beauty of a podcast, not taking it away from any of the other podcasts we've done.
No.
It was quite a refreshing podcast.
It was.
And a little bit down to earth from DJ 247 Mandela, just stripping it back a little bit. But we're talking to him to get him back in for part 2. So that will be coming in the new year. But before we do that, we've got another guest, like I mentioned last week. We've got another guest raring to go and to get on to this week's Groove Junction, John.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I'm looking forward to this one because I know that he listens to our podcasts.
He does.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
That'd be But no, I know he's listened to all of them. So
getting some random on slightly, goes against what we're trying to
his
treat.
loyalty points have led enough for him to have an interview.
You got the Groove Junction loyalty card.
Yeah. There's only a couple of people that got it.
All right, should we get him on after the break?
After the break.
Yeah, there it is. There after the break. Let's do it.
There it is. After the break.
Welcome back, John.
Yeah, and you. Welcome back.
Welcome back. Do you know what? Those our intro bits getting shorter and shorter as these episodes get on, because I've made it perfectly clear that I want to get an absolute range of guests onto our podcast. So our little intro bit at the beginning gets shorter and shorter as each week goes, because I want to get the guests in and I want to know loads of stuff and hear and get that education that we've been dying to get. I say dying to get that we want, our listeners want, and everything else. So with that being said, we've got a guest on this week. We have mentioned this guest a few times. Only the reason I'm just doing this slight intro on him is because he does get a little bit distracted. And what I mean by that, there has been occasions, and we've worried about his welfare, because he may have possibly broken down in the past. He has run out of petrol because he's been so engrossed in the Groove Junction. So with that being said, this week's guest, please welcome to the show DJ Scott Dewing, all the way from Suffolk. Hold on a minute, he's not there.
Oh, where is he at?
I'm so sorry, guys. I got a little bit held up.
He's just
arrived.
Right,
I'm fine.
You're great. For people that aren't watching it, he's just walked in with a jerry can. He wasn't on the screen. He's just arrived with a jerry can in his hands. Scott, welcome to the Groove Junction, first and foremost. And thank you for all the comments that you've sent us in relation to the fact that you've been listening, watching to the podcast since we've started. I wanted to kick things off really and get you on, because you are the bona fide wedding DJ. All the stuff that you post, you put out there, you are the man from that Suffolk Essex border, who is really smashing the wedding scene. So firstly, welcome, Scott. The first question is, when did you start getting really deep into the DJing and then branch it into the wedding? Did you go straight into the wedding, or did you start separately and then build into that?
So I think just to rattle through my beginnings, it's quite a long story to be fair, but to try and make it as brief as possible. My granddad was always very into like sound equipment and like speakers and lighting and just anything kind of electrical really. So he was always very much a kind of, if there's something you want to achieve, then I'll make it happen. My uncle then took it a step further and actually become a DJ, and was just kind of your run-of-the-mill mobile DJ kind of thing, going out sort of Friday, Saturday nights. And then I kind of took an interest into it. I don't know if it's because I was being babysat by my uncle and he was up when I'm working, so I have to come. But I found myself going out and setting up all of his equipment and then DJing the night and then packing it all away and then unloading it into his garage at the end of the night. And I think he was getting about 140 quid and I was getting about 20. So I thought something needs to change here.
Definitely.
And then from that point, I just kind of said to myself, do you know what? I like this. I really enjoy this and I want to do this myself. So I went down and got a job at an amusement arcade in the 6 weeks holiday. And I was like giving out the change and the cash desk and that sort of thing. And then I got promoted to a bingo caller. And then I was just doing anything I could to just get the money.
With a microphone in your hand, you're doing the numbers.
Absolutely. Legs and everything and all that.
Yeah.
I went from that and then just wanted to just earn as much money as I could to just be able to build up my own rig. So I went out and got my first like Skytech speakers that I think were pretty much the height that I was. There was like two big 15s, one above the other, and then sort of a horn and then 4 tweeters in the top. And then my granddad had to put like resistors into them because they were so tinny and sounded terrible. So we sort of had to try and do what we could to make them sound half decent. And I just sort of built up my own rig. And I had all I look back at the old 80s disco rigs where they had all like the colour chasing bulbs that went around the outside and stuff that sort of chased the way around or whatever.
Retro.
and I
I
kind
had
of
a
built
roguelike.
up all of that myself, and then started doing kids' birthdays.
Okay.
So yeah, so I was doing like 2-hour kids' birthdays for 35 quid. I remember
what age
taking
were
all
you
the
here?
seats out of my mum. Probably about 13, 14.
Okay, right,
Gotcha.
yeah. Early start.
You know, it would have been a bit older than that actually, because I was working in a cash desk down at down in the amusement arcade. So I must have been about 15, 16 actually.
Okay.
So yeah, so just like doing kids' birthdays and stuff. And I remember taking all the seats out of my mum's Picasso to be able to fill my speakers in, and then she had to go and set up and do the gig. And then from that point, I was doing a kids' party, and my auntie said to me, "Can you come do a house party for my 30th or whatever it was, or 35th, or I can't remember what age she was now." But so I went round there and done that. And then there was one of our friends that was there that said, "Can you come and do my birthday?" And it just kind of went, that's where it kind of started snowballing from that point, really.
Nice. So with the kids ones, I mean, was it like, did you have to take that full rig time, or did you slim it down, or what did you do? You took the full rig and that?
Yeah, it was literally just the full rig, because I just had, and to be fair, to this day now, if somebody books me to go and DJ for a birthday party, for a wedding, I just have the one rig. I don't like loads of different options. It's just That is what I have, and that is it. And I've always been the same. So yeah, but then fast forwarding on, as soon as I become a very busy mobile DJ around 18, 19. And for the area that I grew up in, I had a lot of work for that area. My uncle moved into the clubs, and he was DJing sort of 70s, 80s and 90s in a local nightclub, but he just decided that he'd had enough. And then he asked me to cover one of the nights in there, and I had a really good night. So they just said, do you fancy taking over from your uncle? So I said, yeah, go for it. Obviously check to make sure it's okay with him, and actually
Undercut your uncle, get yourself in the door. Nice.
Yeah. So he just went from there, to be fair. I mean, I had a go at a few weddings, back in those days, and it was just far too much ABBA for my liking. I can't do that. I don't get the enjoyment from that at all. Dexys Midnight Runners and, Come On Eileen and 500 Miles and ABBA just on repeat every weekend. It's just not doing it for me at all. So I ended up coming away from the mobile DJing, and I went into the clubs instead. So it ended up being sort of a resident DJ at a lot of the venues that are in Colchester. Got myself a little bit of a reputation at the Slug and Lettuce in Colchester, where I was kind of known as Mr. Kishtree, because that's just what I enjoy. And that was it. And then I think when it comes towards the end of the club days, it just, as I think you spoke to a club DJ a little while ago, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
And I've always tried my best to have DJing as my full-time income. And when I was in the clubs, I think when I was on a Saturday night, I used to take about £250 from a club, which I believe at the time was really good. We're only going back probably 4 or 5 years ago. But there weren't really many club DJs that were earning that sort of money in the club, for like a plug and a play. And then, and I tried to make more money from that, but they weren't making the money they needed to. So they just, we're going to need to drop your money down. And that would have made it really tight for me. So it just got to the point that I just said to myself, I need to find something else. And the one thing that has always worked for me is being a DJ. I've jumped from job to job to job to job. I've done car sales, for the majority of my life. And I've just had enough. And DJing is what's always been there from when I was sort of 13, 14, 15. And I just thought, what, I need to do this. This is what I'm built to do. So
you went from the kids stuff, then you went into the clubs, and the club started to decline a little bit. And that was when you sort of decided to go into like the wedding, more of the wedding mobile stuff, and put all that. You say you didn't like all the party cheese, the ABBA sort of stuff. Did you sort of sell yourself as, I'm a club DJ, but I do weddings. I will do a little bit of cheese, but I predominantly do club music. Was it like that?
Well, it did run through my mind to do that. But then I also when I'd done my first website into the wedding industry, I said to myself, if I can put myself across as a club DJ, then people are going to get really excited. And, this is something different. It's not your normal, easy, how people perceive wedding DJs to be. And actually, when you announced me and said, King Wedding DJ kind of thing, I just kind of in my head, I was thinking, there was a day that I would have cringed to hear that. Where actually now I just feel like the wedding industry is a fun industry to be in, and it's not got that vibe about it anymore. Like you've got a lot of players out in the market. Like, I can't believe I'm following 247. As soon as I saw 247 was on the podcast last week, I was like, how on earth am I going to top it?
Yeah. No, but Scott, it's in relation to what you just said then about I didn't want to be labelled as a wedding DJ, and 2-4 was exactly the same. He was like, that's not the path I wanted to go down. I sort of went in there not knowing what I was going into, and all of a sudden was like, well, I can do certain amounts and I can do it. And we've seen how he's developed, and you're moving in the same branch within your area of the country. And from, what I see and what you push out, you're absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, I do. I definitely feel like there's a new breed of wedding DJs coming into the market, and I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I do feel like it's had that vibe for so long now of, wedding DJ being a little bit like, oh, sorry to hear that thing. Where I feel like now when you speak to people and you go, I'm a wedding DJ, they're like, oh, amazing. Like, how cool must that be? Because I think people see Instagram and they see these wild parties, and when people are watching them, they're like, that's a wedding.
Yeah.
And they weren't like that before. And it was all like, let's do the okie dokie and let's do the cha-cha slide and let's do this and let's do that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I'm past that. I will always come across weddings where they say, we really want the Macarena, we really want this, we really want you've got to do what what the client wants from you, or if they've said, please our guests, and that's something they're asking for, then that's fine. But it fills me with a lot more joy now that is not week in, week out for me.
No, I must admit, I'm very similar with a lot of like weddings that I've done in the last year or so. They're going, you'll at the bottom of their paper, they go, can we have a half-hour garage set? Yes, mate, of course you can.
Absolutely.
You know what what you're going into when they're asking for that. You're going to get like your Aunt Janice and your Aunt Jacqueline and that are going to say, can I have some ABBA? You're going to get that at a wedding.
Yeah.
Most weddings. But then I think that the music that's played at wedding has changed a lot in the last 5-10 years. It's not like you said, Dexys Midnight, where it's not all that all night long anymore. There's a lot more. There's a lot more chart stuff, a lot more club stuff, R&B, and now garage and even drum and bass as well. Now that people try, with your rock indie as well. And so your wedding does tend to cover all genres. So my question to you, Scott, is from working in the clubs, following on from your uncle, and then that sort of declining a little bit, and then you went back into the wedding stuff. Was you like, look, I'll do what you want, but this is what I'm gonna do, and sort of persuade them to do what you wanted, sort of thing? Were you ever like that? So do you see what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest with you. I think that the main reason for me to go back into the industry really was the money. And I know that sounds quite weird because obviously a lot of DJs talk about passion for the music and this sort of thing. But at the time, I got reduced in the money that I was being paid, and I needed to find a way to increase that. And what actually happened was I got asked by someone that used to come into the club, used to DJ, and they said, look, we want you to DJ our wedding. And I just said, well, I can't. I've got no equipment. I've got no nothing. And by the time I take a night off of where I'm working, plus hiring the kit, plus making it all worthwhile for me, it's not worth it. And they just said, look, we'll pay you whatever you want. And I was like, right, okay. And at the time, bearing in mind I was on £250 maybe in the club, I think I suggested something like, I think I paid my mate 200 quid for his kit and then put a bit on top for the aggro of doing it all, if you like. Sounds terrible saying that, someone's wedding, but you know what I mean? And it was like 600 quid. And I was like, all right, cool. And then I went to this wedding and it was awesome. And it felt like just being in the club. And I kind of looked around and thought, this isn't what I remember it was. So, but never thought anything of it. I just thought I can't be bothered to go and get all the equipment again and all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to stay in the clubs. But it's been nice to just see what it is, what it's like. And then I looked over and there was a set of love letters to the side of the dance floor. And the guy that turned up, I said, oh, that's cool. Just, I'd obviously never seen him. And he goes, yeah. I said, well, how many did they hire out for? He saw about 350 quid. I went, wow, right, okay. So he said, yeah, it's nice, easy. We literally just drop them off, pick them up, and away we go. So I was like, right, okay. So obviously it must have been when it was relatively new, to weddings for them to be that price. They're not anymore. So I said to my other half's dad, who's a cabinet maker joiner, I just said, like, there's a guy that's dropping us these love letters, and he's getting paid £350 for these love letters. And all you got to do is, like, you could just knock them up in the carriage. I'll sell them. and take them to the wedding shows and stuff, and we'll make a little business out of it. We went to some of the wedding shows and looked around at some of the DJs that were there, got chatting to a couple of guys, and just said, like, what's the going rate these days? It's been a while since I've been in the wedding world. And the guy I spoke to at the time, he said he was running an agency, and he said, well, I'm charging 750 quid. And I said, how? 750 quid?
Wow.
So he said, yeah. So I said, oh, okay. And then he just said to me, he said, look, I've got some work going. So he said, if you ever want to get back into it, he said, then I'll come and check you out at the club one night. And he did. He turned up to one of the clubs I was DJing at, to come and make sure I was what I said I was. And yeah, started doing a few bits and pieces for him, and it was a lot more money than what I was earning in the club. But the work just weren't, at the time, because he was still trying to build up his business, it weren't regular enough to be able to make it worth its while for me. So I just said to him, look, I'm more than happy to stay with you doing it, but I need more than what I'm getting. And I don't think he could give me more, because he was in that kind of building the business stage. So I just said, I'm going to have to do it myself. And he said, yeah, that's fine. And that was it. So I just kind of said, right, that's it. I need to power through, and this is what I need to do, and this is what I need to achieve. So when I started my website, I'd done exactly that. I thought it was going to be very cool to go, yeah, I'm club DJ. And then I started looking back at it and thinking to myself, is this actually selling? Is this selling me? Or because I didn't know the clientele at the time, or is this going to be putting people off? Because actually they're reading club DJ, and they're thinking to themselves, actually, we've got Nan there, we've got auntie and uncles there, we've got this, we've got that. Why should I bring in a club DJ? And then I tried to just tone it down a little bit, But I think the more and more I've kind of moved on with it, the more and more I've realised, actually, you need to be very open and honest about what you can achieve, because if you say you can do everything, then you put yourself in a pool of other DJs that also say they can do everything. Whereas if you specialise in something and you can do it very, very well, then those people that want you to do that specific genre of music and that specific vibe, they will go to you and they will pay the premium for you, because they can see you deliver that consistently in that niche of music, or what you do. So I kind of went in quite heavy on the club side of it, backed out a little bit, and now I'm slowly trying to kind of push it back in to actually say this is where I'm driven towards.
Nice. So did you, when you did that, did you make up these love letters? Did you go down that road?
So in the garage, I was the T-boy. So I would kind of say, yeah. I would say
I'm the T-boy for the Groove Junction, mate. So don't worry.
That's why I went to the main man to book John. I got told I need to go for you, but I thought, no, I need to go see the MD.
Yeah, right decision, Scott. And John, yes, you know your place.
But no, it started in the garage, and Fern's dad is kind of the man. Like that's what he does. So I just kind of said, yeah, okay, fine. I think they should look like this. Here's a couple of ideas, and he'd build the letters, and then I'd take them away. And at the time, I was doing a security job. This is when we started the business just before COVID. So through COVID, I got a security job, and no one was there for the whole day. And I know COVID was a real bad time for a lot of people, but for me, I genuinely think it completely turned my life around as far as my business was concerned, because it gave me a lot of time to be able to go full steam ahead without having any distractions, because my shifts were 12 hours long, not seeing anybody at all. So it just allowed me to be able to get in, learn how to build a website. So I build all my own website and stuff now. And then I could also then, take these letters to work with me and just take a couple of those, I want to say they're like horse things. I don't know what they're actually called, where you fold them out and then you rest things on top of them. I can't think what they're called.
Like
and then you
table.
store in it. No, not just table. Anyway, I basically just took some of these things to put the letters on top of, and then I'd then paint them. So I'd then spend the day doing that to move forward with that side of the business. So yeah, so I did, my main focus was like the sales and marketing side of it. So I then built the website for the business. I would then go to the wedding shows. I'd be the salesperson. And then when we went to the wedding shows, he was the T-boy. So.
Makes sense. So you mentioned the fact that COVID sort of changed your outlook on it and sort of prepared you ready for that market. What was the drive behind that?
I think the drive behind it was because I've always been, usually, if I've ever had a daytime job, it's always been sales driven.
Yeah. And
the weird thing about it is I'm not really a salesperson. I'm used to getting into sort of multiple arguments with sales managers at car dealerships and stuff. And I was working for like Land Rover. I worked for Land Rover when I was like 18. So that was my first kind of real big sales job. And And then I went to places like, Vauxhall and Honda and just kind of made my way around wherever. And the one thing I really used to hate about that industry is the fact that the sales manager would say to me, right, you need to go out there and you need to tell them that this is a deal for today. And you're like, they're not going to believe that. I sound like a knob, and being sat here right now, you sound like a knob. So, but if that's what you that's what you want me to do. And I'd just go back to the couple and I'd just say, look, I'll be honest with you, the sales manager said it's a deal for today. So I'm being honest with you, it's probably not. If you walk back in tomorrow morning and say, okay, I'll buy the car if it's on that same deal as yesterday, he's probably going to say yes. So take the time, it's a big purchase. Just think about, obviously, what you're committing to. And then if you still want to go ahead with it, then just let me know. And I felt like I'd done better at sales by being like that, rather than being pushy, because I'm not a pushy person. And I think the one thing that I've tried to implement into my business through COVID is actually trying to not have so many sales calls when I'm trying to take bookings. So my website is packed with information. And again, I know it's not the norm, but it's very rare that I talk to any couples until the day of their wedding. Really? So with my website, I try and put as much information on there as possible. So all they need to do is ask me if I'm available. And I'd rather my socials and my website do all of the talking. And I'm currently in the process now of redesigning my whole website again, starting it from scratch. Every single word different, just everything is just fresh, blank canvas, to try and home in on that more. Because I don't know, like it's not that I don't like the interactions. It's just that after spending 45 minutes on the phone to someone and then them not booking, I'm just like, well, that was a waste of my life. I could have been sat with the missus, or I could have been playing with my kids, or I could have been, doing anything else rather than talking to you about something that hasn't actually gone through. So now I'm just putting everything I possibly can into my sites, my social media. And I think to myself, if you can't make a decision based on what you've seen, I'm not going to be able to help you, because everything I've got inside me is, you can see it there.
I think the internet is a it's a minefield for a lot of people. But like you said, I've seen your website, and there is a lot of information there, and I've seen your Instagram posts and all of that as well, and with your camera footage and everything, and it does tell a story. That it does, you can quite easily pick up what sort of DJ you are, and the vibes that you get and everything as well. So I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying with that.
I've got to ask a question, Scott, in relation to that, because of the decision about putting loads of stuff on the internet, and it's fairly common and it's well knowledge that people's focus on something is quite quick, in the sense of they'll move on to the next thing. If they can't see it quick enough, they're going to move on to the next thing. Why do you think the way that you've just described works for you, and you are continuing to get booked, you are continuing to get that? Because people's attention spans drop off, and if they haven't seen what they need to see immediately, they're going to go elsewhere. So why do you think that's different for you?
I regularly try and push people to follow me on my social media accounts, mainly Instagram. I'm working hard on that TikTok, just because I can see the results that obviously TikTok can also have. But yeah, with Instagram, I just feel like I'm so consistent with my stories, especially. So, you might have DJs that will go out and they'll take a photo of their rig and they'll go, oh, I'm here today, and I'm here today, I'm here today. And then all you're seeing is the same rig with a different background. You literally might as well just crop out the rig and just find photos of Google and just stick it back on again on all the photos. But you can't see nothing. So with what I do, it's very rare. I think you'd have to scroll a few times, and I'm talking like probably 5 or 6 times before you actually saw a photo of my setup. Because as far as I'm concerned, it's not interesting. It's interesting when they've booked you and they're like, oh, what options do you have available? Is it this, or this? But I don't ever focus on the rigs that I've got available, because to me, it makes no difference. And it's probably not really doing our retailers very much justice for me to say it doesn't really matter what your rig is, don't bother spending any money. But I feel like that really highlighted to me when I got asked to DJ, and all they wanted me to DJ on was just a black trestle table and nothing else. So I just said, well, my cables are going to show everywhere, and my lights are going to look stupid, because the 2 lights I had just little dinky things that used to sit on a DJ booth that looked okay, but just on a trestle table with just my mixer and my laptop, it's going to look ridiculous. And it felt ridiculous. But actually, once I'd done that gig, it was probably one of the best gigs I've ever done. And it just goes to show that the music you are playing and getting in the vibe with that crowd is the most important thing. Everything else is lovely. For you to go look at my rig, that's brilliant. But actually, the music and the atmosphere you create on the night, however you do it, is the most important thing. So regards to social media and stuff, that's what I try to show as much as possible, is just watch my social media channels, watch my stories, because every single wedding I DJ, I take that 360 camera too. And that will show you my mixing ability, that will show you the reaction from the crowd that I get, and it will show you, which is most importantly, that every single gig I go to, I consistently get a good night. And I feel like if people follow me from as early as possible, then even if they don't have the focus and attention to read everything I write, if they follow me on social media, they'll regularly see my stuff pop up, and I'll constantly be in the back of their mind. That's the way I see it.
So that's the Instagram side of things. You mentioned about your website. You've put a lot of information into your website.
Yeah.
What is your, do you have an idea in relation to your booking rate of people that have found you via your website compared to the people that have found you via Instagram?
I get sent through obviously my statistics of people that, visit my website. And to be completely honest with you, my statistics are actually quite low on conversion rate coming through my website. Now, I've got a feeling that, to be honest with you, I only know of one other person in my area that charges a higher fee than I do. Okay. So I feel like straight away, there are a lot of people out there that automatically think that if they are booking a wedding DJ, they are going to pay £700 or they're going to pay £800 or £900 or maybe even £1,000. Mm-hmm. But they don't come to my website expecting to be charged £1,650, for a 5-hour set. So instantly, I think people will go to my pricing page and go, no, like that's over double, triple what we've seen elsewhere. So I do believe that I'll lose a lot of people through my website for that. One of the reasons I'm actually looking to rebuild my website from scratch is because if you imagine that for most weddings, I will probably edit about 15 to 20 360 videos for every single wedding I do. I don't have any of that content on my website. None of it. And you think to yourself,
and I wouldn't suggest you would have that. And what I'm trying to say is, in the sense of that attention span that people have on Instagram and social media is very, very quick turnover. Yeah. But you say you fill your website with everything. You give them everything. Do you not feel that because you just said about you don't get a big turnout on your website in relation to bookings? Is that because you think you're putting too much in there, or you want to reassess that, or are you happy to continue to throw everything in there?
Yeah, no. So I do believe that actually I'm trying to reassess it at the moment, and that's why I'm now creating another brand new site, because actually I've got all this content available that's not on my website. So actually, if I was to put all that content on the website and make the website as exciting as possible, then I might start seeing a little bit of a change, on that conversion rate.
Yeah.
Whereas at the moment, there's lots of information on there, and I fully agree with what you're saying. You're going to get so far and go, oh, I'm bored now, and actually not commit. And that is one of the reasons why I'm now redoing my website and making it much more. Because I haven't looked around.
That was a question I was trying to pose to you, in the sense of, you say you put everything on the website. From my knowledge of websites and working and attention spans to customers and everything else, they're not going to scroll through everything. They're not going to read everything direct. They're going to see you either on Instagram, or they're going to Google DJs in my area. They're going to find your page, and if you've got too much information there, they're just going to go, Paul, where am I going? And people are going to lose customers. And this, for anybody that's watching or listening to this podcast, you've got to really drum down certain areas of it. Yes, we're going to have to do a little bit of work, but ultimately, I'll say it in relation to my website. On my website, I've put starting price from. So if people want to book that, and that is my starting price, then that's fine. We can have conversations about all the additional bits and pieces you want, and it will obviously go up. But I know that anybody that's looking for a DJ or looking for me to DJ, and they're expecting to pay stupid money of 200 quid, which you see on Facebook and other bits and pieces, when my starting figure for a normal party is 550. That's my sort of figure. So if that doesn't meet you, I'm not going to have a conversation with you for 45 minutes, because my website is telling you that's my starting price. So I'm not going through that, having those conversations for 45 minutes with somebody and nothing comes of it. And I know if somebody does know that and they've gone to my website, because that's where my booking forms are, once they've gone onto that and have seen that, I know they're going to book me, because they've gone through the process of actually going through the contact and they can see that price.
Yeah.
Scott, you're sort of like a recommended supplier and a resident DJ at something like, I think, 11 or 12 different venues. Is that right?
14, yeah.
But
14?
14 venues.
How do you do that? How do you? Firstly, you can't be in 14 venues every Friday and Saturday night for weekends.
Do you know what? I thought this, but again, it comes down to pricing, because the thing is, you could have four venues pushing you, but I charge you a lot more money than the majority of DJs that are out there, and I'm not going to get as many inquiries as these boys are getting. So I feel like, for me, I have to get more recommended venues under my belt, because I need those extra inquiries coming through to make up my numbers. That said as well, don't get me wrong, I'm still working hard. I mean, last year and this year, I'm still averaging 95 to 100 weddings a year.
Wow.
So
that's good numbers. That's really good numbers in the industry.
It is. Yeah. I mean, admittedly, I want to bring it down. I definitely want to bring it down.
So the question I'm going to ask you now, Scott, then is, so the fact that you've got 14 residencies as for next year, or venues that you're on approved vendor for, DJ for, do you, or say this year, how many have you had this year for 2024?
Sorry?
How many venues have you been working with this year?
So I've signed up probably 3 more venues in the last sort of 2-3 months.
Okay, so this year is 11 then. So 2024, 11. Okay, so out of those 11 venues that you are their number one pick, are you getting that, or I'm already booked out, conversations with people that are contacting you or not?
Yeah, I am. And I think the one thing that's really annoying about it is just the fact that actually, if somebody was to contact me and say, look, we're looking to book you for April 2026, I'll have one booking in the calendar for that April 2026, and that'll be the date they want.
Yeah.
So I don't really think it matters. At the end of the day, it's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
And there are some people that probably going back to, 6-7 months ago, said, hi, Scott, are you available for August this year? And, inside, I want to laugh. I go, you stupid. Like, it's August. You're a few months away. No, I'm not, but then I've checked my diary and I am available. And in August this year, it was really weird, because in the first week of August, I had 2 gigs. The second week of August, I had 3 gigs. The third, I had 4. And then the fourth, I had 5. So August was still a really busy month. But the bit that was even weirder about it was up until probably about, 3 months before August, none of my Saturdays were booked. None of them.
Wow.
People leaving in last minute.
Yeah. And I literally had... Well, no, this is the thing. Because I weren't doing a wedding, I was able to just pick up a random birthday party or something, whatever. But all I'm trying to say to you is the fact that even though I was recommended at the time by 11 venues, it doesn't mean to say that when someone contacts me about their date, that I'm not going to be available for it just because I'm recommended or I've had this many. It just depends where they fall.
Yeah.
And I remember in August 2022, I had 24 weddings in August.
Wow. There's 31 days in August, Scott. There's only 31 days in August.
But the bit I found crazy about it was obviously there's 24 bookings for August in that year, but then this year just gone, I never had a Saturday wedding.
Wow.
So you just kind of think
a lot of the COVID overspill sort of thing still, do you think?
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, it will be, yeah. But then even like 2023, my Saturdays were booked through 2023. But my point is just the fact that I just look at it, I think to myself, like, even if I was recommended by 11 venues, and you've got the whole of April free, just because you've got one booking in that date, the next person that recommends you is that one date they've gone for. So it really doesn't matter. I don't think everyone's expecting for you to be available all the time. And the venues understand that. And they know as well that when you are popular with other venues and, you're obviously, busy, then they don't expect you to be busy all the time. But the more people send in their inquiries, the more chance I've got every year filling up my calendar.
Fair point. Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's business, isn't it? At the end of the day, you got to get your calendar full. It's you are full time in what you do.
Yeah, and it's different as well. Like if I was a resident DJ, I wouldn't be a resident DJ at 14 venues. So it's not going to happen, is it? There's no way you're going to be able to do that. But then, to be honest with you, I refuse. I will never, ever, ever be a resident DJ for any venue ever. And there was one venue that contacted me probably about 3 or 4 months ago. And it's a really high-end venue, like really high-end. And I feel like if I'd have just come into the mobile scene and this got offered to me, I'd be doing backflips.
Tempted.
Their weddings start when you go onto their website and you select, what your budget is. Their budget starts at £45,000. That's their starting point for their weddings. They just said, we just want you to look after our weddings. So I just said, no way am I doing it. And I look at it and I just think to myself, the problem is as soon as you sign yourself to a venue, you're locked into them because you agree a price. And then it's not as if you go, right, this is my price now, which is what I can do now. If I want to change my price tomorrow, I can change it. It's up to me. I put it on my website, it's done. And the other thing as well is I don't like the fact that someone will pay a fee for a service. And then actually, if they're getting married at another venue, that's the fee they pay. I don't agree with that.
What do you think makes you stand out from other wedding DJs? What's your USP that you feel that's like just one? You don't have to give me loads. I'm not looking for all of them. But what do you think that makes you stand out that you get that booking? I mean, obviously having 14 venues that are, pushing you and saying this is our recommended or one of our recommended DJs obviously helps. But if you take all of that away, what makes you stand out from other DJs in your area?
I think personally, and it's where I'm definitely driving my business more so this year, is just branding. That's what I think it is. It's branding. And it's just little things as well. Like I'm very big on anything that's kind of got my name on it. I want it to kind of stand out. So even down to like business cards, if I have business cards that I hand out, like I'll have them embossed, like a white gloss logo. And when you give someone your business card, they can feel, the raised area of where your logo is. And then when I bought my Focus Spot 5Zs, the last lights that I went out and bought, I then paid a lot of money to have my logo put into one of the like the gobos.
Yeah.
And then when I go to a wedding show, my logo will literally just be floating around on the floor and whatever. And it's just things that don't people don't really see
or think about it.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because the thing is weird about it is everybody's different on this, and obviously I'm saying this knowing that obviously you've got your logo on the front of your DJ mate. But for me personally, I'd never advertise at a wedding. I just wouldn't
Don't have
do
it on at a wedding. It's just pies.
Right. Okay. Sorry. It's only 'cause I've seen your bits and bobs before. But I just thought, you know what? Once the wedding's done and the night comes to an end, then obviously on these gobos that I'm now going these lights, they'll literally just fire straight down to the floor, with my logo that's spinning around, and then you just see people at the end of the night start taking photos of them. So you're not advertising at someone's wedding, but then when it's come to an end, rather than people that go, I don't remember, go over and talk to him, by just putting your logo down on the floor to go, you've spent the night with DJ Scott Dewing, people just take photos of it, and then they'll follow me on Instagram or, whatever, all the videos and stuff that I get up on social media. And then I tag the couples, but I don't send them the videos until after the stories have gone. And the reason for it is because obviously I want them to share my videos that I've tagged them in, so everybody on their friends list sees that my name is there, and they'll go, oh, he looked quite good, I'll follow him. And then after 24 hours has gone by and they've put my stories up on their page, then I'll send them their videos and they can do what they like. But everything's driven to branding all the time.
Branding's the key for you. Branding is the key for you.
Yeah. And I find it so funny as well because there's so many DJs out there that go, I wouldn't sign right my van, get broken into, this, that, and the other. And I get it. I get it wholeheartedly. I completely understand it. And a lot of people don't believe me when I actually tell them that my insurance went down by telling them that my vehicle was wrapped. And the reason I believe it went down was because if it got stolen, you're not going to miss it going down the S12.
That's true.
You know,
Yeah, that's
probably
very true.
because it's in a lay bike. It's run out of fuel.
Yeah, there is.
But it actually went down, and I've had my van now for 5 years. It's been fully wrapped all the way round. It's never been broken into. I've got to touch wood somewhere now. I need to find some wood somewhere.
Yeah, don't jinx it.
You know, but I feel like by having a plain van, I think people assume it's a builder. And when you get into a builder's van, you can get tools away quicker and easier. But I'll tell you what, if they can get into the back of my van and take a 20-foot Starlit dance floor, you are welcome to it, mate. And I'll give you a job. If you can lay it that quickly in a venue, you can come with me. I'll pay you.
Yeah, they're not light, are they, the dance floors?
No, they're not at all. But like I say, just everything, branding. Just
Branding
when
for
I'm
you.
there on the night, at the end of the night, logo straight down, business cards, the van, social media, website, just anywhere you can kind of put your name. Even sort of high-end charity functions and that kind of thing. I've recently looked after the after party and the sort of performance for the Essex Wedding Awards as well.
I did see that actually on your socials, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just anywhere really that I can kind of put myself effectively in the limelight, to just go, look, this is who I am and this is what I can do. So branding.
Yeah,
Nice.
well, hopefully next year's going to be just as busy for you as this year, if not busier. I mean, we've come out of the wedding season sort of really now, haven't we? So are you busy over the Christmas period? You got some stuff on?
I mean, the last wedding I've done was on the 5th of October. I've done a couple of engagement parties for a couple of venues that, people have had their parties and stuff there for. And then I look after one of the venues that recommends me. So they've got Christmas parties, and it's mainly sort of Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays through December. But it's such an easy gig, and I'm just going to complete the menu at the restaurant because they just say, just make sure you're all set up, make sure you're all good to go, and then just go into the restaurant and just get what you want. And I go into that restaurant and I think to myself, do you know what? These are all the meals that I wouldn't normally have, but they're free, so I can't complain. So I'm just going to eat them, and then I'm just going to complete the menu by the end of the month.
Well, we might have to get you back on to see how that went. How that challenge went. Challenge Scott, we'll call it.
Oh, nice.
Absolutely.
Scott, thanks for joining us. We are literally out of time. Thanks for having a
gone by
quick chat.
really quick, man.
And giving us a little bit of an insight in relation to how you operate, how you're doing, and how you sort of badging up your business and everything else. So appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you will continue to watch and make sure that jerry can is full at all times, just in case you do break down en route somewhere.
Straight in the van, mate. Straight back in the van.
He'll forget that he's in his studio there, and he'll go break down tomorrow night.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining
Brilliant.
us,
Scott, listen, thanks ever so much, mate.
Have a
Appreciate
great
it.
Christmas and New Year, mate, and love to your family, man. All the best.
Yeah, thanks for letting me come on, boys. It's been
No
good
problem,
fun.
pleasure,
Thank you.
mate.
No
Good
worries,
to have you.
buddy.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, mate. Take care.
So there you go, John. Another interview in the bag. Really interesting chat with Scott. More so the fact that he came prepared with his jerry can just in case he broke down during the interview.
He ain't going to break down on the way home tonight, is he?
No. And interesting chat around the fact of the branding. That was quite an interesting point that he was making around making sure your branding's right, and to have 14 wedding venues.
I mean,
and
that is amazing.
Absolutely, it's amazing. And him being the preferred
supplier, the recommended supplier.
Yeah, the recommended supplier.
Yeah.
Is
I don't think I've ever played in more than 14 venues anyway, ever.
John, I don't even know 14 wedding venues. All right, let's make that perfectly clear. But yeah, good luck to Scott, and I hope
absolutely.
Next year does him well, and he stays with Diesel in his van before he breaks down.
Diesel in his jerry can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you remember you're talking about the branding at the Photo Booth Expo? He gave us all a USB stick with some traction. Yeah.
Good point. Actually, good point. Yeah, it's a branding again. Yeah, he made up some USB sticks that he gives away Well, he gave them to us, but he gives them away to potential clients as well to showcase what
Very
he
clever.
can do in the mix.
Yeah.
In the mix.
In the mix. In the mix. Got chewing.
Yeah, no, so good chat. As you can see, I've teleported myself from the hotel room back into my house.
See, I stuck with continuity. I've got the same. Well, it's not the same T-shirt actually. If I covered that up, you wouldn't know the difference. But
I mean, from a continuity point of view, I'll make it perfectly clear that we recorded yesterday and now we're recording again today. Because I had some internet issues in the hotel. Hence why when I started this conversation, I was in a hotel room, which we made we made that point and had that conversation. I'm now in a different location.
Yeah, I will say you do look a lot more comfortable at home.
Well, thanks. I mean, hotel rooms do drag you down a little bit, and especially when their internet is not that stable.
Yeah,
hence why we're recording again tonight.
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, well, we mentioned it at the start of the podcast about the journey of this year. And now we're hitting Christmas. Christmas is a really busy period for DJs, more so mobile DJs than club DJs, because they've still got the residencies, they're still going in there. Mobile DJs, you're going to go around a lot more. You're going to be going from one venue to the next, and it's time consuming. Everyone's out enjoying themselves, and we are being the professionals that we're working. And we're working, and we're giving, we're giving back. At Christmas time, playing all those Christmas absolute classics. And so,
do you play Christmas music at your Christmas parties?
That's an interesting thing. So a lot of the Christmas parties, and this will probably, well, I'm going to have this conversation. A lot of the Christmas parties that I do, there'll always be a sit down meal before. Yeah, I think that's pretty much the general spill of it. So you'll have a venue. They'll have loads of different companies that buy tables and have their Christmas parties at a large venue. I will always play Christmas songs as background music.
That's
very low level.
That's
background
what I
music.
Do.
Yeah.
And then once they finish the dinner,
we're game on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's all up to beat.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I would say it's fairly multi-genre in the sense of I'll take requests left, right, and centre.
Yeah, me too.
And towards the end of the night, I will probably drop a few Christmas songs just to end it.
Drop one.
Yeah, a couple.
Last song, and I say this is your last song, guys. Merry Christmas, blah blah blah. And I'll be like,
all right, humbug.
I say I do get on the mic. I say, listen, guys, if you want to listen to Christmas music, go shopping. Because it's in every single shop. You don't want to be hearing it while you're getting drunk with your mates from work. You don't want to be hearing it. No. I'll finish off on MC. Finish off on Bosch. Done.
MC. We can't even say a name. We just refer to it as MC.
Because it's not even December yet, mate.
Well, yeah, I know. It depends when you're listening to this podcast.
Well, that is true. That is true.
Exactly that point. We got to make it perfectly clear. But yeah, we know her as MC in the trade at Christmas time. Yeah. That song starts to get forward out around about mid-November, and then we are ready to drop it at the end of November, beginning of December, which leads us all the way up to pretty much a few. Yes. And then she goes back on ice.
Yeah.
Old exactly MC.
Same with Michael Bauble. He's the same, isn't he?
Mr. Bauble.
Yeah, you don't hear from him all year, and then all of a sudden he drops a brand new album. Cliff Richards, he's another one. Don't hear from him, and then all of a sudden he drops some like gospel quiet, something like that.
Yeah, we're all really busy over the Christmas period, and I would say anybody that's listening to this that isn't a DJ and you just stumbled across this podcast, always go and thank your DJ at your Christmas party, because they're the ones providing the entertainment for you, for you to have a good time, for you to let your hair down, and also maybe offer them a drink. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've never or a lemonade.
I might have had one or two drinks offered to me, but sometimes I do get people come up to me and just give it like, "Thank you very much. You had a really good night." This, that, and the other. What I want them to say is, "Would you like me to help you load your car?" That's what I want to. But I'll make do with the thank you. You know.
So we'll continue our wrap up of Christmas, and we'll do. I know we said at the beginning of the podcast we'll talk about the year, and we'll have a rundown of the year and how it's been. I think we're a little bit early. I think we're a little bit premature for that. let's put the brakes on that and let's get Christmas out of the way. But we will have that chat and then the year roundup.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
But yeah, another good episode, mate.
Yeah,
great
I
seeing you.
enjoyed it. Went by quick as well.
Yeah, it did, certainly did, especially over 2 days. two days of recording.
Yeah.
Don't give the magic of the podcast away, Matthew.
Yes, Matthew.
Matthew,
is that what your mum calls you when you're naughty boy?
Absolutely.
That's
why I called myself like.
There's only 2 people in my family that call me my real name. That's my cousin Greg.
Your real name?
My real name, yeah.
Okay, well, let's not do it on the podcast. Let's keep it stum. I tell you what. Does anyone know or want to suggest what John's real name is?
Real name. It's not what you think. It's not what you.
I didn't even know this. This is all news. This is breaking news. Breaking news.
Yeah.
Let's put it in the comments. Let us know in the chat of what you think John's real name is. God, there's so many shorts that are going to come out of this little bit.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not being funny, but 247 is not called 247, is he? That's not his real name, is it?
DJ name.
Yeah. DJ John is not a real name.
My name's Matt. Like, I mean, I can't get away from that.
No, mine did. Put it in the comments. Let's see if anyone can guess what my real name is.
I didn't know any of this.
No, not many people do.
Finding out new information, John. Is that your name? I don't even know what to call you anymore right now.
I can't say because then it's kind of like
it'll spoil it.
Because I'm calling me Jemima.
These names are going to rattle through and they're going to be great to see. But yeah, great stuff. Fun. Thanks, man. I'll catch you next week on the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening, downloading, watching, and the continued support. We love doing the Groove Junction.
Yeah, we do. Absolutely.
Have a safe week, everyone, and we'll see you next week. See you later, Johnny boy.
Take care, buddy.